Good morning, everybody. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas. I'm gonna do a little short video for you today, and basically it came off a comment from my YouTube channel that I want to talk about, and I'm gonna show you here in a minute where this guy's, why you're stalking your ex-wife, and it was on this video it was a recent video I just made, harassed by the neighbor, and I had recorded. I was in my backyard minding my own business, and my neighbor starts yelling from over his fence, and here I recorded him. If you hadn't seen this video, I'm gonna show you right here.
Coming and going 24/7 and not unloading freight. It's all right. You'd assume truckers are back there, but this is on the weekends, holidays, middle of the night. They're showing up, staying a little bit, leaving, showing up, staying, leaving. At the same time, I got burglar alarms going in my attic here and people moving around. It was real clear that the people in the attic were meeting them truckers over there, but that seemed to stop once they took that live tree out. And at the same time, that suspected tunnel entrance in the backyard of that house was there. One last story here is in 2013 at the protective order here in the ex-wife file, and you'll hear him talking about that because I wonder if they hadn't got that ex-wife blackmailed or whatever. She lied. That's all there was to it. I was only married to her for 3 months, and it was clear to me that she had a connection to these crimes. My backyard? You don't want me in my own backyard? What are you saying? My blood pressure medicine? My blood pressure medicine? No, sir. Huh? Your crazy medicine. What is that, a slander? Your crazy medicine. Really? We're ready your stuff. What you did to your ex-wife. Oh, is that right? Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Really? You're a creeper. Really? Oh, okay. Uh-huh. Hey, what do you know about these what do you know about these murders? Huh? You know anything about these murders? Huh? Do you know anything about the murder attempt on my life? No, the people are lying. Do you know anything? You're lying. You shot your foot by yourself. The evidence shows that I didn't. There's no evidence. The pellets removed from my foot were 2.5 sizes different than what was in my gun. 2.5 sizes different. Yeah. Why are you harassing me in my own yard? I'm the victim of a capital crime. You understand I'm the victim of a capital crime.
Okay, so you can see this is the next door neighbor that had the suspected tunnel entrance in his backyard, and he's out there slandering me, and he brings up my ex-wife, right? And then, of course, he's ignoring the evidence that the evidence shows without any possibility of doubt. I wasn't shot with my gun, meaning somebody else shot me, and then there's, tons of other evidence, right? Multiple people documented saying tunnels, underground homes are here, including a recent candidate for sheriff, homeowners all over Midland, Odessa, Texas, and other states reporting people in the attic. The evidence now is just over the top, right? I'm the victim of a capital crime, of a violent crime. Whoever shot me are some very dangerous criminals. And so I get this comment here, and I want to show you here this morning. Okay, and here it is. Why were you stalking your wife? Okay, and so his ex-wife, and I made a long reply back here, and there, it's just the number of people here of tax. I tell you what, after I returned from the hospital, the ex-wife comes over and she says, "You don't know how many lives you run with your idiocy." And my idiocy was staying home minding my own business, right? Somebody came to my home and shot me. But what she was saying was a lot of people were here and they're going to have their lives ruined when the truth comes out, And well, where were they? Well, they were obviously in the underground home in the backyard that you can see on Google Maps, right? They were obviously at a sex party going on. I recorded a woman saying saying that they were having pedophile parties down there. You know, that might ruin somebody's life if it's found out. And it, you know, so here, that's where I think a lot of these enemies come from that attack me with lies and slander, and you know, and I'm nothing but the innocent victim that bought a home. I mean, that's the only thing I did, you know, was buy a home. But then these allegations on stalking the ex-wife, you know, and so I wanted to address that. The other thing, before I jump into here on my defense of myself on this, and that's what I'm going to read you here, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the evidence because the evidence is shown in many other videos, is this guy right here. He created a video called Buddy Webb and the Disturbing Tunnels Under Texas, okay? That was in January 2019, and he's had 1.3 million views. And I'm going to just show you this little bit of clip. What he did was take parts of my videos, he omitted the evidence that clears my name, and he focused on lies told about me by people that are alleged to be involved in the murder attempt. It was a clear defamation of slander. I reported him to the Texas Rangers and to the Sheriff Kreiner because I believe, I'm suspecting that he was probably paid to create this video to smear my name, destroy my life, cover up the premeditated capital attempted murder of my life that left me crippled, but also hide the underground facility so that they can hide the murder of the little girl that was murdered at the 2010 oil show party, the murder of the last homeowner that died before the 2008 oil show started, and who knows how many other murders, plus all these other homes that are rigged like mine with hidden underground access. People are reporting people in the attic. So we're going to listen to just this part of this slander from this guy right here. You know, he should go to prison someday.
And he has doubled his security of his house and has still been getting broken into. However, he claims he gets broken into quite a bit, but I never, in looking through all his footage, see somebody else in his house.
Once again, see what he omitted right there, what he didn't tell the 1.3 million people, is that I have proof that my cameras were hacked. It took a long time to prove that they were hacking my security cameras, and I provided that evidence to the FBI and to Homeland. And actually before, you know, remember I showed Homeland where I believe this human trafficking murder tunnel was at, and 2 weeks later the ground was dug up and concrete was poured. That's what's going on here. But this guy, you know, here, that's what I'm saying. He omits the evidence that clears my name and focuses on lies. Oh, it's a good trick to hack cameras, but that doesn't give you the right to break into homes and murder people.
We'll have to take his word for it.
Burglar, what are you doing, burglar? How come I don't see nothing? How come the light didn't come on when that little alarm went off?
Okay, so anyways, he takes I've got over 100 videos of burglar alarms going in my attic, people in my house while I'm in the bathtub. I saw a person in my attic, homeowners all over Midland, Odessa, and other places reporting people in the attic. It's a fact. I mean, it ain't a what if could be, but this guy takes that one little clip and smears my name.
Big question. Is it all for real, or is it all in his head?
See?
Well, looking into this, there's a couple of red flags. I think you guys should be aware.
Court of Appeals, see? And this is the protective order case, and that's what I'm going to read about in a minute.
In 2017, Buddy Webb appealed a protective order that barred him from any communication with his ex-wife or daughter. Due to, well, ironically enough, he was stalking her. They were married for only 3 months when they separated due to her feeling her life was in jeopardy. He was very delusional, she stated, and felt she was part of a conspiracy against him. Yeah, it's starting to make a bit more sense now. During the marriage, he apparently locked her in a room and interrogated her. Webb had a theory that possibly there's a tunnel that comes under my house that goes up through these pathways that lead into the attic. Webb testified that the tunnel and pathways provided a transportation system for a prostitution ring. He then questioned his wife about her involvement in said ring. He has some interesting footage.
Okay, and so I'm going to stop there because we're going to get back to me in my defense of myself. Why did you stalk your ex-wife? Okay, and I'm going to read this to you. And like I said earlier, I'm not going to show you all the evidence because I've got so much evidence, you know, but it's in the videos and on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook, etc. And so you can really just listen to this, and hopefully, I think it reads real well. Okay. I wasn't stalking my ex-wife. Those were false allegations that I believe were made to smear my name and cover up the failed murder attempt on my life, which police were involved in. Here are the facts. Okay, now listen to that real carefully. Here are the facts, the irrefutable, undeniable evidence. A lot of this was brought up in court. The ex-wife filed a protective order on me 22 months after I was ambushed and shot by somebody under my home with burglar alarms going off in my attic. The allegations of stalking were based on the fact that I'd sent 2 non-threatening emails in 22 months. The law was changed shortly before this court hearing, allowing emails to be called stalking. Non-threatening was the key word. After I survived this murder attempt and now crippled for life, I found pictures of police on my security camera inside my home and staging the crime scene, but I couldn't get them identified because I wasn't provided a police report. I nicknamed them the secret police, right? I offered a $2,000 reward. That is important because one of them was MPD Detective Rosie Rodriguez, a main witness against me in this protective order hearing. It came out in court testimony that she was the lifelong friend of the ex-wife who had filed divorce on 5 days before the murder attempt. Rosie and the ex-wife called me delusional under oath because I believed there were people in my attic. That's what the guy said, right? This was before I'd found proof of homeowners all over Midland, Odessa, Texas, and many other states reporting people in the attic. I did have proof that I wasn't shot with my gun, which makes this a murder attempt, but my attorney didn't submit that evidence as this case was supposed to be about a protective order hearing and not about capital attempted murder. Rosie Rodriguez, the detective, and 10 other secret police were finally identified in 2018, 5 years after this protective order by Empire Private Investigations. And in 2019, it was found out there was a police report that had been illegally withheld when my attorney subpoenaed it before the court. So the police report I didn't see till 2019, and I was shot in 2012, and it had been subpoenaed in 2013. 6 of the 11 secret police who had been caught on camera had their names illegally omitted from that report, and 2 of those are now dead. I put that in there to show you how that it was a falsified report, heavily falsified report. The timestamps on this police report showed that 5 police officers, Davis, Dickey, Chatwell, Angel, and Hale, were at or in my home when they were not seen arriving on the security cameras, which had seen Woodward and Naylor arriving 4 minutes earlier. That evidence is shown in many other videos. This means they came in from the home, from the underground trap door that the ex-wife had already told me about, and from where I had been ambushed and shot from. Proof shows I wasn't shot with my gun, so we know somebody under my home shot me. It looks like it was the police that tried to murder me in my home, which I believe explains this ludicrous court filing and false allegations of stalking the ex-wife. It's now known that I had trapped a burglar in my guest bathroom on the day of this murder attempt, and it looks like these police tried to use that as a justification for shooting me in my own home during this home invasion. The irony is that I had been reporting repeated burglaries to the police, but the police were working with the burglars that were breaking in my home. Furthermore, court testimony shows that I hadn't seen or talked to the ex-wife in 18 months before she filed this protective order, and she lived in Lubbock, which is over 100 miles away. The allegations of me stalking somebody that doesn't live in my own town and I hadn't talked to are absurd. They were based on the fact that I'd sent 2 non-threatening emails during this time period. That's what the allegations of stalking come from, was 2 emails sent, non-threatening emails sent in a year and a half. So that means if they can do that to me, they can do that to you, okay? In the first email, I asked her what she knew about my mom's death, who had died 52 days before the murder attempt, with still unanswered questions. I believe that she does know something. I have a video called The Death of My Mom that explains that in full. In the second email, I advised her to contact the FBI, and I attached a copy of a conversation between myself and her former boyfriend, Arthur Welch. He had told me that he believed she had a lot to do with the shooting from the things she said, and that she had threatened to have him killed too. This was read in court. That is one piece of evidence I'm going to show you in a minute, okay? And so me suggesting that she contact the FBI is not a threat. It's not threatening. Me asking her what she knows about my mom's death is not a threat unless she had something to do with my mom's death. The judge ruled that I get a lifetime protective order and took away my right to own guns for life, which left me disabled and defenseless while living under the threat of death with crimes still being committed against me. And as I said, I've probably made 100 videos of burglar alarms going off in my house since I was shot with burglar alarms going off in my attic. Keep in mind that I was never charged with a crime, nor did I commit one. I didn't plead guilty or not guilty or get a jury of my peers. There was no due process of law. This was a protective order hearing, and I was a 28-year company man, homeowner, granddad, and survivor of murder attempt with lies being told about me to cover up these serious crimes. I also had never had a felony. Some people have suggested this was done in an attempt to try and terrorize me into selling my home and moving. That way they could keep the 3-bedroom, $1 million underground home secret, which Layla O'Brien said was called the Safe House Project when it was installed in the 80s at a cost of $7.35 million. She believed the Bushes were behind this, the installation of the Safe House Project, and George Sr. Bush was the vice president at the time. Midland is their hometown. Okay. Angie McGee Hurley told me about a young girl that was murdered at a party going on during the 2010 Permian Basin International Show because she didn't want to prostitute, and it's believed this happened in the secret underground homes here. She was afraid to report this murder and said that high-level police were at those parties. Multiple police are now documented saying they're here, including recent candidate. The document is saying the underground homes are here, including recent candidate for sheriff Joe Lozano, who I secretly recorded telling me it was the hideout for the late Sheriff Gary Painter. I cashed out my 401k and I paid attorneys to appeal this ruling, and 2 years later the Texas Appeals Court upheld the ruling. That's what that guy showed you was bits and pieces from that Texas Appeal Court. Okay, we were then turned down when we tried to take it to the Texas Supreme Court. This case impacts all gun owners because it shows that you can lose your Second Amendment rights without ever being convicted of a felony. Okay, keep that in mind. And these were lies told to cover up the premeditated for-profit capital murder attempt on my life. You have probably heard of the red flag laws, which allows the removal of firearms from somebody that has been labeled with a mental health condition. But in my situation, I was falsely accused to cover up the murder attempt on my life. I wasn't labeled this by a doctor, but by some of the secret police that were involved in the murder attempt. Less than 48 hours after I'd survived the murder attempt, Officer April Chandler created a permanent police record stating that I was a paranoid schizophrenic, when the truth was that I didn't have this disease, nor was I diagnosed with it. In fact, I was cleared by mental health at the hospital after the false allegations and smear of my name by these corrupt police. Okay, let that sink in. I was cleared by mental health at the hospital, but it was corrupt police involved in the murder attempt on my life that are spreading these life-destroying lies about me. Police that I went to for help. Police that I called to report burglaries to. I had crimes being committed against me. This has been a mockery of justice, and it brings shame to all good law enforcement in the state of Texas. This wrong must be made right. I'm a lifetime supporter of law enforcement. I've always supported law enforcement. I take a strong stand against police corruption and any police officers that are helping murder citizens inside their homes to make their friends rich. One last thing, on September 21st, 2011, 4 months before the murder attempt, the ex-wife and I made a recording, and on it she admits to trying to extort around $1,800 a month from me over the crimes at this home. And if I didn't pay her the money, then she would tell everybody that I was crazy. She said the truth of the matter is that Greg told her to do it. Well, I didn't pay, and she carried out her extortion threat in court. Herself and her lifelong friend, MPD Detective Rosie Rodriguez, who was one of the secret police, both called me delusional while under oath. That's called felony aggravated perjury. I didn't write it here, but Rosie Rodriguez met me at the 7-Eleven after I crawled out, and then stated on the police report that she wasn't there. And then there is a picture from my security cameras of her inside my home that shows her and April Chandler leaned over my nightstand where my stolen cell phone was found planted. And my cell phone was stolen before I was shot. The reason I crawled out is because my home phone lines were cut and my cell phone was stolen. I was forced to crawl out. They had shot me and planned on me bleeding out and dying. That's what the plan was, and then they could have ruled my murder an accident, and then it added an extra $500,000 to the benefit. You'll see that here in a minute. So I have this video that I gave to the guy that asked this one little question, follow the money, okay? And that's what we're going to listen to, just part of this video, okay? Follow the money. This is a recording made 4 months before the murder attempt. Remember, she is alleged to be involved in it.
You're the one that's gonna make money off of it. See, I could never figure out why would this all happen, and then all of a sudden, wow, who the hell is gonna follow the cash? Follow the cash. Who's gonna make money off this house being broken in? And how in the world can you know and say somebody's coming across the attic and breaking in the house and turn around and go, here's what you're gonna do. You're gonna pay me $1,800 or $1,200 a month, or I'm going to lie about everything that I've seen and tell everybody you're crazy. You're the only one that was going to make money off the house. Does that tie you back into the people breaking in the house?
No.
Conspiracy?
Absolutely not.
Huh?
Absolutely not. In your mind, yes. Obviously it does. In your mind, obviously it does.
You know, I'm standing from the outside.
No, it's absolutely not true.
I stand from
the truth of the matter is that's what Greg suggested.
It's a crime or opportunity. How's that? Okay, right? Because it was available. Okay?
Whatever.
Maybe you're not involved. It was just crime or opportunity, right?
It was, you know what? It was a mistake. I shouldn't have listened. I got bad advice.
Okay, and so she admitted to felony extortion, but it said it wasn't her fault because she got bad advice. Okay, does everybody pick up on that? 4 months before capital murder attempt of my life. And so what I'm going to show you here, now that we got, I think that's everything I want to see there. Yes, what I'm going to show you here, okay, is from the courtroom testimony. Okay, here is the transcript we just heard. You heard her talking. Okay, I made a mistake. You know, you're going to lie about everything you say, call me crazy. Right there was the extortion threat to call me crazy. Here is courtroom testimony, and that's what's referenced and thrown in my face. Okay, testimony by MPD Detective Rosie Rodriguez. Okay, that's how I described him. But did Mr. Webb seem delusional? That's how I described him. So Rosie Rodriguez called me delusional, the lifelong. It also come out in courtroom testimony, because we didn't know that they were friends, that the ex-wife and Rosie Rodriguez had known each other all their life. They were lifelong friends. Okay, and then here's the ex-wife, the plaintiff. He's very delusional, and he believed that I was part of a conspiracy against him. Now, keep in mind, over here, 4 months before the murder attempt, if I didn't pay the extortion money, she's going to tell everybody that I was crazy. And I got the recording of it, and then here she is in court 22 months after the murder attempt calling me crazy. Okay, I didn't pay. She carried out the extortion threat against me. Now, what happened in court is, as we saw Rosie Rodriguez, secret police Rosie Rodriguez, sitting next to ex-wife and visiting, okay? And it, like they were lifelong friends. And so, just on a whim, my attorney asked Rosie Rodriguez if they knew each other before court. You know, that seemed pretty bizarre, didn't it? Because Rosie Rodriguez was the one that met me at the 7-Eleven after I crawled out minutes after I was shot, right? And she's the one that closed my case and ruled it an accident, right? And so anyways, to our great surprise, yeah, we went to elementary and junior high together. I've known her all my life, you know, and it also come out they had been in contact with each other. Okay, I want to show you something else here. Okay, this right here is my life insurance books. Okay, the ex-wife had taken that because we separated less than a month before the murder attempt. Okay, she took these books and I didn't know about it, and I found out about them when she brought them back about a week before I shot. Some people have suggested that she brought them back so she wouldn't have physical possession of them when my murder was ruled an accident. And here's what they show. I had a basic accidental death policy and a supplemental accidental death, and it added 2 times base pay. That's $200,000 plus $250,000 more. Okay, so that's another $450,000, basically $500,000 extra on top of the life insurance. And the big prize was this home with its $1 million underground home in the backyard where they were having the also parties and the pedophile parties underground. Okay. This right here was read in court. This was the communications from Arthur Welch, the boyfriend of the ex-wife. And she admitted in court that Arthur Welch was the boyfriend. My attorney asked her under oath, under sworn testimony, is he psychotic too? You know, because she's going around calling everybody crazy, right? Arthur Welch right here, do you think ex-wife had anything to do with the shooting? He's asking me. He says, I dated her for a short time here in Lubbock. Keep in mind, 100 miles away. And she threatened to have me killed. Okay? So she threatened to have him killed. Okay? And then he writes, well, I think she had a lot to do with it from the things she said, and I'm so will never trust her. He later told me on the phone that she was talking to Greg a lot during this time, and he believed that Greg was connected to it. Okay? The guy that suggested that she extort the money from me. Okay. Arthur Welch just couple months ago posted this on his Facebook. Cops were recorded hiding evidence and laughing about this man being shot. I was dating this guy's ex-wife when I overheard her talking, and from the things I heard, she tried to have him killed for insurance money. And to hear how many police were involved, one her lifelong personal friend, Rosie Rodriguez. I won't let Buddy Webb be laughed at. Her final words to me was, I will have you shot too. Okay, this was in 2020. Arthur Welch first contacted me in 2012. That's what I showed you. His story hasn't changed in 8 years. Okay, and I'm still living under the threat of death. And you see that even here, this neighbor and many other people focus on these lies told about me, these life-destroying lies to cover up this failed murder attempt. And this has to be, this wrong has to be righted. And the main point here, or one of the main points, is these red flag laws in this case were abused because they take out due process of law. I don't get a plea guilty, not guilty. I don't get a jury of peers. All it is based on lies, and I lost my right to own guns for life, my Second Amendment rights. So if you like your guns, then you need to speak up about this case.